What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Land of 10,000 Sports video. We're here. It's a straight Minnesota sports podcast for Timberwolves, Wild, Twins, Vikings, all Minnesota sports teams, the four main ones. As a big fan, time to create a YouTube channel. So with that being said, in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the Minnesota Timberwolves as they just concluded their summer league with a win over the Orlando Magic yesterday, 115-100 to finish the summer league 4-1. And overall, we have a lot to talk about. It was a good summer league, big summer league, obviously high expectations, seeing these guys come into the league. But it's a lot of fun. A lot of Timberwolves players are, playing right now. Obviously, the summer league team with players like, Terrence Shannon, Rob, Minot, Leonard Miller, guys to watch out for. And then Anthony Edwards playing with Team USA, being a big contributor there. And then also Rudy Gobert playing for Team France, Joe Ingles even playing in Australia. So, been a big offseason for the Timberwolves so far, despite their season, ending just a little bit ago. They're already back into it. So with that being said, I think it's time we kind of, take a look at the main pieces that, will be contributing to this team next year and how they did in Summer League overall and, just kind of go from there. So with that being said, I was going to go with, obviously, probably the player of the Summer League for the Timberwolves, Terrence Shannon Jr., who dealt with the toe injury, so didn't play yesterday and barely played in the last game before that. But in the games he did play when he was fully healthy, this man looked like a good rotational player. And obviously he's on the older side, 23, 24. So, he looked ready and he looked primed and he was cooking, averaging around 18 points per game, just being aggressive, not settling for shots. Even though some threes were going in, he was mainly driving a lot and was a huge, contributor to the Timberwolves, playing winning basketball, and overall he can just, has that big physical presence that can make him play defense. And I think he'll be an instant player to kind of replace those Kyle Anderson minutes that are lost. Obviously, Kyle Anderson was a Swiss Army knife on defense, who in his first season here was really good on offense as well, shooting 40+% from three. But last year took a big step back on the offensive side, but was still very versatile defensive-wise. I think Terrence Shannon Jr., while he's not on the level of Kyle Anderson defensively, I think can provide a good spark there because that's a lot of minutes to replace, and he even has a better offensive refined game and just attacking. It should be pretty easy, translatable to the NBA, and I think he showed pretty quickly that, he could do well in Summer League, and I think he'll be a big contributor to the Wolves rotation as they look to eat up minutes, to replace the minutes of, Kyle Anderson, McLaughlin, some of the steps. So, great stuff from Terrence Shannon Jr. Overall, very solid Summer League, and obviously showed first game dropping like 25+ points, what he's capable of doing, scoring the ball. Then the next guy, obviously, Terrence Shannon was the highlight. But some other guys that we need to talk about that I think will also be in the rotation or possibly, just out, but future. Josh Minot, kind of towards the beginning of the Summer League was kind of struggling, but he kind of picked it up as it went on. And he showed his versatile. He's not necessarily super great at one thing, but he's kind of just one of those guys, like an energizer bunny. But you need that, especially during an 82-game season. I don't think he'd be playing much in like a playoff setting, but you just need energizer bunnies out there, on a Wednesday night against the Charlotte Hornets when the team, may not bring it in like a cold February night. But, he can easily be a contributor to this team immediately. And overall, I think he'll be in the rotation to start the season, at least give it a shot. I think he's proven enough. He can, shoot the ball okay from three, but he's an attacker, had some great highlight dunks in this Summer League, and can just be a versatile player, not, like I said, not necessarily great at one thing, but he can hit down some threes. And if that shot's consistent and they're going to leave him open, on the court when you're playing with guys like Anthony Edwards, Rob Dillingham, Karl-Anthony Towns, Mike Conley. So he's going to get his open looks, and if he's able to knock them down, I think he can be a consistent rotational player because he does have the energy on defense, very lengthy. That also could be a solid winger to help replace the Kyle Anderson minutes, I think. Even though, that offensive game is still a question mark, he just provides that spark the Timberwolves need. Like I said, some dunks. And the biggest question will be just that shot coming around. He was saying his free throws was very aggressive, so can score in the paint as well. And in the Summer League, he got better, I think, as the games went on, kind of. And I definitely think, he can be a huge contributor to, helping them win some games, that you think they might lose, like to the Hornets last year when Karl-Anthony Towns dropped 60 points and they still lost. I don't know if that happens, with these energizer guys and that are playing for their lives and they want to get that next contract. I think a player like Josh Minot will help fill out, the 1,000+ minutes they're looking to make up for from the players they lost. So overall, I think that'll be a very helpful. It was good to see him grow as the summer league went on, and I think he definitely has proven enough to at least get a shot at the start of the regular NBA season. We'll see how he looks in preseason and stuff, but overall, I think he was a kind of a raw prospect, second round pick from Memphis, I think, but he has shown some capable flashes of just being an overall solid rotation player. And especially if that shot gets knocked down, he can be playing for the full season. And then the next player, obviously the most controversial player, Rob Dillingham. Obviously, Timberwolves traded with the Spurs to get him at 8 overall, and typically a team that just made the Western Conference Finals doesn't get to get a player like that. But they made the trade, and we kind of knew Rob's flaws coming into they're just kind of coming into the NBA. He's a little bit smaller, that defense. And it's clear throughout the summer league, it was very up and down. But overall, I would give him a solid, like if I had to grade his like summer league, like around a B-, C+, because the things I had some question marks, I think he was a great playmaker, 12+ assists in a couple of games, or double-digit assists, was just, thriving and helping for others, and he wasn't really trying to score a lot in the first couple of games, was just kind of being that guy to pass it and get other people open looks. But the way he ended yesterday with his first 25-point game, he was getting some buckets in the other games, but just very inefficient. But if that shot will come around, I think he'll be just fine. The most encouraging thing last games was he was finally getting some floaters down. The threes were falling. His most efficient game, 25 points, 12 assists, and overall just. We know what he's going to be. Obviously, there's high expectations for him to come in and kind of be that backup point guard because there's a much depth behind him. And I think it's going to be up and down, but, the Timberwolves trust him, and I think he'll be just a consistent bucket. I think he'll be able to get you points, and he will be another shot creator, and I think he kind of just needs to get his feet in the sand. And I do think, before preseason, he does need to add some weight because, on defense – even the summer league teams were attacking him, and he can kind of get bodied in the paint a little when he's driving to force offensive fouls, trying to create separation. But, at the end of the day, there was a lot of good things I saw, playmaking, and just, the ability to score at a high level as shown in the last game. Even though, a lot of the games were inefficient, I think that shot's going to come around. That's his best strength, is obviously shooting 44% from 3 at Kentucky, very efficient player. And we saw it yesterday kind of come all together for him because we saw in games, even if it wasn't most efficient, we could see the potential there. But, some playmaking was one of his biggest question marks. I think it was one of his best things, even though he did have some turnovers. He had a lot of great flashes as well as a playmaker. So overall, I think Rob is there's a lot on his plate, but I think, maybe they'll dwindle it back a little bit, but he's still going to be playing a lot. And I think, it'll be a struggle. He's a rookie. It'll be up and down. There's going to be some games he looks like a great player, like yesterday. There's going to be some games where he goes like 2 for 8 from the field. It's just going to happen. But I think he'll be a consistent, similar to my Energizer Bunny, that can be, very useful on the offensive end to just go get a bucket and help play make for others, because you can't leave this guy open. Because he will knock them down, especially once he gets his feet wet. Playing with Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns, and him and Rudy Gobert pick and rolls will be amazing. I think this will also be the most important season for Rudy Gobert defensively, because we know what the Timberwolves are perimeter-wise, but, Rob Dillingham, even if he puts on like 10, 15 pounds, his height and weight is still going to be below where the league's at. So he's going to need to help out Rob a lot on the back end if he gets beat. So Rudy Gobert, more than ever, his acquisition may be felt this season, because obviously when you have guys like even Mike Conley, who's a little bit older but just knows how to get it done on defense, Anthony Edwards, who's really solid on ball, and Jay McDaniels, and Karl-Anthony Towns has taken a huge step. Rudy didn't need to worry about it too much, but guys like these rookies, like that may get beaten a little bit, he may have to help them with their mistakes. I think this will be the most important Rudy Gobert year we see on defense, and from what we've seen from Rudy, he's been able to do it with much worse in Utah. I think he'll be just fine now. And then the last guy, obviously, got to talk about is Leonard Miller. Leonard Miller and the summer league on the highest of highs notes. The first 2 games was a little, not rough, but, a little inconsistent. The jumper wasn't there, and the jumper is still very inconsistent the way he shoots. It kind of changes varies possession to possession if it's more contested or wide open. But with that being said, finished with almost, I think, last night he may have had 18, but he finished with basically close to 3 straight games with 20+ points, 10 plus rebounds, just showed that versatility he provided in the G League last year and just how much he's improving. The guy's only 20, 21 years old. And the flashes he's shown, I think he may not play necessarily right away, but he's going to get some run in this season. I know he will. And overall, he showed a lot of great potential in the summer league, obviously dominating towards the end and very efficient shooting as well, despite being a little bit too three ball happy. But, it's summer league. So if he's just trying to develop that jumper, that's fine. But in the pros, I expect him to drive a lot more. And even then, he can still shoot the three at a decently efficient clip. And, overall, if he can just get that shot mechanic down, that may be his biggest weakness. But, he's provides a lot of versatility offensively and a great offensive rebounder. So I think just getting some of these rookie guys in, there's going to be growing pains, but there's also going to be a lot of high highs as well, I think. So for the Timberwolves, regular season wise, I don't know what to expect because I could easily see them just getting better by having more youth out there, a little bit more depth. I feel like with bringing guys in like ready-made players like Terrence Shannon Jr. and I think Rob Dillingham will obviously get some early run. And one of Minot or Miller, I think, will get a shot as well. So I'm just getting more youth in there, more bodies. This team could be, very good next season, regular season wise, but there may also be growing pains and losing games that we're not supposed to. So I'm kind of on a mixed bag of where I think they'll finish. But overall, I'm just excited to see these guys, and I'm excited to have them with the team because, the Timberwolves are already in a ready win now mode, and guys like Terrence Shannon looked like a ready-made player. Rob Dillingham looked like, he showed a lot of good in the summer league despite not having the best efficiency. And guys like Minon Miller, I think, will have enough good to help contribute to winning basketball for this team. So I'm very excited to see that. And with that being said, they did end 4-1. So overall, the one game they lost was a bizarre free throw game, and they only lost by 2 points. So they could easily be in the summer league finals or whatever. I think it's like 4 teams. So they could have been at least in the semifinals. It wouldn't have surprised me. But with that being said, overall, great. It was great just to see the guys out there, especially for a guy like Rob Dillingham to finish yesterday the way he did with that game. But with that being said, obviously, we have Team USA, Anthony Edwards being a big contributor to them as they barely survived South Sudan in a 1-point game with LeBron James winning layup. But in just a couple hours, they will host Germany, or not host, but they'll play Germany in an exhibition game. The Germany who won the champion last year. Not the Olympics, but just whatever it's called in the summer. They defeated the United States, who Anthony Edwards was probably the best player on that team last season, still kind of, adapting to his role here, but has shown a lot of good. And hopefully, he just continues to play. And then obviously Rudy Gobert and France haven't been getting the wins, but Rudy's been playing pretty solid for them. And the little highlights I've seen of that, it's very hard to watch France basketball that isn't streamed on our United States television. But overall, just good to see the guys getting practice and seeing the summer league team finish strong the way they did. With that being said, obviously enjoy the Olympic basketball we can to see Ant and Rudy Gobert. But, enjoy it because before, July's over in just August, then in September, we'll kind of see the guys getting back in the room. So, it's a lot shorter of an off season than football, but, that's the beauty of it. We'll get to see the guys basically year round. And, I'm excited to see Rob, Terrence Shannon, these guys play with the real boys. Obviously the Ant-Man, Carl, Rudy, Mike Conley mentoring Rob Dillingham. I think that'll be really cool. And just kind of see where this team goes because they showed a lot of good potential for next season. I'm excited to see. But with that being said, that will wrap up today's Timberwolves Summer League recap. As always, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.